Okay, now let's start taking care of the baking. And for that, we're going to create a ROP network. And let's call this ROPNet baking maps. Let's dive inside. Let's create a bake texture. And this bake texture element requires three essential things. Basically a camera, the low poly object, and the high resolution object. These two need to be referenced at object level. So for that, we're just going to create an object network here, and we'll create geometry inside. Let's say this is the low. We'll create another one called high. Inside we'll have object merge. Let me just make use of second one. Okay, so we have here the the low version. On the high, I'll do the same thing. So create an object merge and just drag that path here. So now we have the other one. Let's create a camera. And that's basically it. So now here on the bake texture, I'll do it the other way around. So now here on the bake texture, I'm just gonna drag these as well. So the low, the high, and the camera. The reason why I'm creating this way is thinking ahead of how we need to have things organized in order for the HCA to work properly. And we'll have to do a few changes here and there, but for now, let's just use this. Finally, here on the here on the path, change this to Alaska A, in case we want to create other pieces of Alaska. Let's change the resolution to 2K, and that's basically it. Now let's choose the maps that we want to export. So we'll want to export tangent space normals and the occlusion for now. You can choose whatever you want, but for now I'm just going to work with these two. And that's it. Now all that's left is for us to hit the render button, render to disk, and wait for it. Okay, now that the baking is done, let's have a look at how this is at the maps and how this is working on our low resolution mesh. Just gonna create a material network. On this material network, I'm also gonna create a material node to apply the material. And on this material network, let's expand this again. It's really handy to have this split. So here I'm gonna go to the material network and let's create a principled shader. Here we'll just gonna lower the reflection here. Increase a bit the roughness. Maybe put this at something like this. And make sure that this is applied to the object. Okay, now let's load up our normals, see how they're looking. So going into the normals, enable, and I'm gonna select Alaska A normals. And here we are, we have all the detail visible. So between the high resolution version, the low resolution version with normals, or the high resolution version, that is naturally a difference, but we can rather look at it with the material. In this case, not a good idea because we're doubling the normals. But let's have a look at this. Let's create a shader just so we can compare it better. Shader low. High. And here we'll disable the normals. Create a copy here. And here we'll apply this one. Okay, between one and the other, there's naturally a difference, but considering the type of density that we have here, I think the result is pretty good. The other thing we're going to do on the material is check out the ambient occlusion, which is also going to help get some more of that detail. So here on the textures, use texture, and let's just choose the occlusion, and there we are. Okay, so this is our low resolution version with the basic maps, just for us to grab the detail from the high resolution version. So now that we have this taken care of, let's make sure we also export the FBX. So create a raw FBX output. We're going to export it at proper scale. Let me just change the name here to Alaska A, save the disk, and it's done. Okay. So let's move on to the next lesson.